For the longest time, retirement was seen as this predictable reward at the end of a long career, a finish line. But for a whole lot of older Americans, that idea is getting shaky, and it's because of this growing cloud of uncertainty around national policy. So let's get into what's really going on here. And this is the big question we have to ask ourselves, right? Is that traditional path, work hard, save your money, and then enjoy your golden years, is that still the playbook? Or is something pretty fundamentally shifting, not because of what's in our bank accounts, but because of decisions being made in Washington? And yeah, the numbers definitely tell a story. A recent survey of more than 1,400 people found that almost 2 in every 5 are feeling more worried about their financial future this year. That is not a small number, folks. It tells you this isn't just a little bit of unease. It's a real, growing anxiety that's spreading. So where's all this worry coming from? Well, when you dig into the data, one thing becomes crystal clear. There's one issue that casts a very, very long shadow over everything else, and that's the future of Social Security. Okay, now this chart really puts it all into perspective. When people were asked about potential policy changes, a whopping 54% said that any cut to Social Security would force them to make major sacrifices. I mean, that just blows the fear of rising Medicare premiums out of the water. It's the number one concern, and it's not even close. And this fear isn't just coming out of nowhere. It's tied to some pretty stark projections. The official forecast says the Social Security Trust Fund is set to run out by 2033. Now, that doesn't mean the checks stop, but it does mean that after that, the money coming in would only cover about 75% of the benefits people were promised. We're talking 75 cents on the dollar. That's the reality fueling all this uncertainty. And this quote from the Center for Retirement Research just nails why this is such a big deal. For about half of all retirees in the U.S., Social Security isn't just some extra cash. It's their main source of income. So you can see how any change isn't just a minor tweak, it's a potential financial earthquake for millions of households. But look, while Social Security is definitely the biggest storm cloud on the horizon, it's not the only one. There's actually a whole cascade of other policy concerns that are all piling on and adding to the pressure. And this table does a great job of breaking that down. You can see that worries about Medicare costs are making people think, maybe I need to work a few more years. Inflation is seen as just as big of a threat to their lifestyle as cuts to Social Security. And get this, even talk about tariffs is having an impact. It's connected to people saving less and taking fewer risks with their investments, probably because they're worried about the cost of everything going up. So we've established that there's this widespread anxiety out there, but the really crucial question is, what are people actually doing about it? How does all this worry jump from being a feeling in your gut to a real-world, life-changing decision? Well, here's the first huge consequence. More than 1 in 5 people who are getting close to retirement are now actively planning to work longer. That finish line they thought was right around the corner, it just got pushed further down the road. And this slide really shows you how dramatic that shift is. I mean, look at that. A tiny 4% are actually planning to retire earlier. But they are completely swamped by the 21% who are hitting the brakes and pushing their retirement date back. The trend is moving overwhelmingly in just one direction: work longer. And the second big change is what people are doing with their savings. Over a quarter of them, that's the 27% you see here, have shifted their money into more conservative investments. It makes sense, right? When the future feels uncertain, you pull back on risk. You choose safety over the chance for big growth. Now, this is where things get really fascinating. The survey found that it's not just the policies themselves, but the news about them that's driving all this. They found a direct, measurable link between how much news people consume and the retirement decisions they make. And this breaks it down perfectly. Basically, people who said they saw a lot of news coverage about Social Security's problems were a staggering 16.6 percentage points more likely to say they were delaying retirement. Think about that. The more you hear about the problem, the more likely you are to completely change your life plans. So when you put all these pieces together, what are we looking at? We're looking at a brand new retirement reality. One where planning for your future isn't just about saving money, it's about trying to navigate this constantly shifting landscape of policy debates. So let's just boil it all down. The big takeaway is that this financial anxiety among older Americans is real. It's growing, and it's being driven primarily by fears about Social Security. And this isn't just passive worry. It's causing people to make huge changes, working longer, investing more cautiously. It just goes to show that those abstract debates in Washington, they don't stay in Washington. They land right at the kitchen table. And that really leaves us with this final massive question. In a world where the financial goalposts can literally be moved at any time by policy decision, what does a secure retirement even look like anymore? It's a question that millions of Americans are now forced to ask themselves every single day.